Remember avocado appliances and payphone struggles? Buckle up for a groovy trip down memory lane. Remember the days before selfies and instant photo sharing? We had the Kodak Instamatic 110 and its successor, the Bonus. These little pocket-sized cameras held 110 film cartridges with tiny negatives. You'd point, click, and then wait agonizingly for the photos to develop.
Pop it on. Take one. Take two. Take three.
Often with disappointing results, let's be honest. These cameras were a game changer for capturing everyday moments. No longer did you need a bulky camera and expensive film. The 110 was affordable, accessible, and perfect for vacations, birthday parties, or just documenting life. Sure, the picture quality wasn't fantastic compared to today's smartphones, but there's a certain vintage charm to those grainy snapshots. Wouldn't you agree? Ah, the kitchens of the 70s, a land of harvest gold appliances and questionable culinary creations. For those who aspired to be a more modern kitchen, there was the Colton dishwasher. While not exactly the quiet, energy-efficient machines we have now, these early dishwashers were a lifesaver for busy families. No more endless stacks of dishes in the sink.
Built right in under the counter. There simply isn't another dishwasher on the market that has the features or the capacity of a new Frigidaire automatic dishwasher.
Speaking of kitchen gadgets, let's not forget the Electro Chef combo. This multi-purpose marvel promised to toast, bake, and broil all in one appliance. Did it always deliver perfectly cooked meals? Well, it's debatable, but it sure freed up some counter space. Today, we have a plethora of specialized kitchen appliances, but the Electro Chef combo was a valiant effort at kitchen consolidation. The electric knife, another forgotten kitchen staple, promised effortless carving. In reality, it was often more trouble than it was worth, leaving behind mangled slices and frustrated chefs. Thankfully, sharp traditional knives have stood the test of time. Remember when video games weren't about hyper-realistic graphics and online multiplayer battles? The 70s gave us the Tappan Fabulous 400 console television, a behemoth compared to today's flat screens. But for many, it was a gateway to a whole new world of entertainment. Paired with the groundbreaking Magnavox Odyssey, one of the first home video game consoles, these clunky TVs became portals to pixelated adventures. Sure, the games were simple by today's standards, but they sparked our imaginations and laid the foundation for the multi-billion-dollar gaming industry we know today. Have you dug out any of your old Atari cartridges lately? Let me know in the comments if you still managed to dominate Pong. The soundtrack of our lives in the past decades often came from trusty cassette tapes. The Philips N1500 cassette recorder was a popular choice, letting us record our favorite songs from the radio or even create our own mixtapes. Remember the frustration of accidentally rewinding or fast-forwarding past your favorite song? Imagine a world without smartphones. In the 60s and 70s and beyond, staying connected meant relying on the trusty payphone. These ubiquitous metal boxes were lifelines, allowing us to make calls on the go.
Whatever you need it for, there's always a public phone nearby.
Max, I got a problem.
You said green pepper, right? Red. Yeah, I meant red.
Remember the hunt for change and the frustration of a tangled cord? On the other hand, for those lucky enough to have one, the Admiral Telebar was a marvel of home communication. This built-in wall unit housed a telephone, intercom system, and even an AM/FM radio. It was the ultimate in-home communication center, though probably not the most aesthetically pleasing piece of furniture. Furthermore, before cell phones, walkie-talkies were the coolest way to stay connected with friends, especially for those pretending to be secret agents. The Sears walkie-talkie was a simple yet effective gadget, perfect for short-range communication on the playground or in the neighborhood. Now, imagine video calls before the internet. The Western Electric Picture Phone was a futuristic marvel, allowing you to see the person you were talking to on a tiny screen.
Good morning, John. You're looking well this morning.
While expensive and not exactly widespread, it was a glimpse into the future of visual communication. Not all forgotten gadgets were geared towards adults. Kids of that era had their fair share of funky tech too. The Hot Wheels Barbie computers were a prime example. These chunky, brightly colored devices weren't exactly powerful by today's standards, but for many young girls, they were a glimpse into the world of technology. The 70s saw the rise of communication tools that now seems like relics of a bygone era. The fax machine, with its whirring and beeping, was a marvel of sending documents electronically. Remember the frustration of blurry transmission and paper jams? Today, email and cloud storage have rendered the fax machine obsolete.
And round, whoa, whoa, and it comes out here.
And that will change the way you do business forever.
And it comes out here.
And how many of you still remember dropping your hard-earned allowance into a newspaper vending machine to get the latest headlines? These clanking metal boxes were a staple outside convenience stores and newsstands. Today, with instant news updates at our fingertips, it's hard to imagine relying on a vending machine for your daily dose of current events. Imagine a cell phone that weighed more than a loaf of bread and cost more than a month's rent. Welcome to the world of the Motorola Dynatac 8000X, the first commercially available mobile phone. While bulky and expensive, it was a glimpse into the future where we could be connected anywhere, anytime. The Dynatac paved the way for the sleek, powerful smartphones we carry today. Sure, it wouldn't fit into most pockets, let alone take selfies, but it was a revolutionary step in mobile communication. Then, the late 70s saw the dawn of the personal computer revolution. The Apple II and its competitor, the Commodore 64, brought computing power into homes for the first time. These early computers weren't exactly user-friendly with their blocky graphics and need for programming knowledge, but for those who embraced the challenge, these machines opened up a world of possibilities. We could write code, play simple games, and even create basic graphics. The Apple II and Commodore 64 may seem primitive compared to today's computers, but they laid the foundation for the digital world we live in today.
Using an Apple II is very easy. The only hard part is getting your kid away from it.
And speaking of clunky storage solutions, let's not forget the floppy disk. These flimsy squares of magnetic media held our precious data, but their capacity was laughable by today's standards. Remember the anxiety of losing a disk with your entire term paper on it? Thankfully, flash drives and cloud storage have replaced these precarious data carriers. The early 70s also saw the birth of video game consoles, but not all were destined for greatness. The Apple Bandai Pippin was a curious attempt at a multimedia console, but its high price tag and limited game library ultimately doomed it to obscurity. Do you remember 3D gaming before it was mainstream? The Nintendo Virtual Boy was a bold experiment with a virtual reality headset long before VR became popular. Unfortunately, the bulky design, limited game selection, and potential for eye strain led to its downfall. So you see, it wasn't all about practicality in the past. Some gadgets were just plain fun, or maybe just a little strange. The Pulsar P1 LED watch was a status symbol, a tiny digital timepiece that glowed with red lights. While its functionality might have been questionable, could you really see the time in bright sunlight? It was a conversation starter for sure. Speaking of conversation starters, what about the VibraFinger? This battery-operated gadget massaged your, gums. Whether it was truly relaxing or just a bit bizarre is debatable, but it certainly captured the spirit of experimentation. Let me tell you here, the energy crisis of the 70s sparked a search for alternative energy solutions. Enter the solar bath apparatus, a contraption that promises to harness the sun's rays to heat your water. While its effectiveness might be questionable, cloudy days, anyone? It represented an early attempt at sustainable living. In the kitchen, the Frigidaire flare oven promised a healthier way to cook with minimal energy use. This countertop appliance used halogen lamps to cook food quickly and efficiently. But it never quite caught on. I mean, who wants to stare at blinding lights while they cook? But it was an innovative idea for the time, indeed. What say you? Then, some forgotten appliances promised to revolutionize our homes, but ultimately fell short. Trash compactors, once seen as a space-saving miracle, turned out to be more trouble than they were worth. They were expensive, prone to breakdowns, and not exactly eco-friendly. The classic Frigidaire icebox, while a staple in many kitchens, eventually gave way to more efficient and feature-rich refrigerators. Remember the days of defrosting the freezer compartment by hand? Thankfully, those days are long gone.
Think of all you can store in here on these big firm shelves that roll all the way up to you, so you can get at the food and back without moving anything in front.
Laundry day in the gone days wasn't quite the streamlined experience it is today. The Thor automatic washer, while a vast improvement over hand-washing clothes, wasn't exactly gentle on garments. Remember the struggle to untangle a load of clothes that looked like they'd been through a war zone? Well, before smartphones with built-in calculators, the HP 65 was a student's best friend. This sleek, handheld calculator with its red LED display felt futuristic and made solving math problems almost a fun experience. Remember the satisfying click-clack of those calculator buttons? Then the 80s housewife, or house husband, had a new weapon in the fight against dust bunnies, the Dust Buster. This lightweight, handheld vacuum cleaner was a godsend for quick cleanups in tight spaces. While not exactly powerful enough for deep cleaning, it was a convenient solution for everyday messes.
The new Power Pro Dust Buster heavy-duty vac from Black & Decker, with twice the power of the original Dust Buster vac, can pick up just about anything around the house. The Power Pro Dust Buster.
So, why did these once popular gadgets and appliances fade away? Well, there are several reasons. You see, technology has advanced rapidly. Clunky devices were replaced by smaller, more efficient models. Functionality improved. Remember those frustrating payphone connections or blurry fax transmissions? Cost also played a role. Early technology was often expensive and out of reach for many families. Finally, some gadgets were simply impractical or gimmicky, failing to live up to their promises. Looking back, these forgotten finds can be a source of amusement and nostalgia. They represent a time when technology was taking its first steps, and innovation was in the air. Sure, they weren't perfect, but they paved the way for the amazing devices we have today. Just think about it. The bulky calculators we used in school led to the smartphones in our pockets. Those clunky video game consoles sparked a multi-billion-dollar industry. And hey, maybe the dream of video calls will one day include a way to see your whole outfit, not just your face looking at you, Admiral Telebar. So, there you have it. A trip down memory lane with some of the coolest and maybe a bit kooky gadgets and appliances from the past. What forgotten finds do you remember from that era? Do you own any of these gadgets? Share your memories in the comments below, and let's reminisce together. Until next time, happy exploring the world of yesteryear's tech.